What's up, Bills Mafia? You already know, this team is doing everything it can to improve, to sharpen every edge, to leave nothing on the table in 2025. From the front office to the locker room, this organization is on a mission, and if you're riding with us as we chase that elusive Super Bowl title, go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe. We've got a ton to talk about today. Let's dive into one of the hottest topics heading into training camp. Keon Coleman. Could he be the breakout star of the year? Could he be the answer to the Bills' WR1 questions? And then, of course, what's going on with Josh Allen's MVP chances in 2025? Let's break it all down. Last season, Keon Coleman didn't quite live up to the hype we all had when the Bills drafted him. Wrist injury, inconsistent play, just 556 yards and 4 touchdowns on 29 receptions. It wasn't bad for a rookie, but it wasn't the splash some expected, especially considering his athletic upside. But here's where things get interesting. Buffalo legend Steve Tasker has his eyes locked on Coleman heading into 2025. My pick for this is going to be Keon Coleman. Tasker said, with his physical abilities, work ethic, and the environment he's in, I really felt like he might have been one of those guys to make a big splash last year. And it was derailed, and he's not wrong. Right before the injury, Keon started flashing a 125-yard game, followed by a 70-yard, 1 TD performance against Seattle. He was heating up, and then the wrist issue shut it all down. Now, heading into 2025 with a full offseason under his belt, Keon has been working hard, building chemistry with Allen, and diving deep into Joe Brady's system. This could be the year. Not just as a contributor, not just as a WR2 or WR3, but as the alpha. Let's be honest, the WR1 role in Buffalo is wide open. Khalil Shakir, solid. Josh Palmer, promising. Elijah Moore, interesting. But none of these guys have locked it down. Keon Coleman has the frame, the burst, and the physical dominance to bully corners and win contested catches. And now that he's healthy, he could be that true outside weapon we've been missing since Diggs faded in the second half of 2023. This training camp will tell us a lot. If Keon is dominating reps, earning first-team looks, and lighting up one-on-one South, you better believe the hype is real. Now let's talk about QB1, Josh Allen. Coming off an MVP season in 2024, Allen was an absolute force. Despite all the outside noise, despite the constant comparisons to Mahomes, Jackson, and Burrow, he proved why Buffalo is his city. Allen totaled over 40 touchdowns for the 5th straight year, the only player in NFL history to do that. He did it with fewer snaps than Lamar Jackson and with less firepower than Joe Burrow. Yet he still walked away with the trophy, but can he do it again? Well, the odds say yes. DraftKings has Allen and Jackson tied at plus 550 as the favorites to win MVP in 2025. Burrow's right behind them at plus 650. Mahomes and Jaden Daniels follow now. Here's the challenge. The bar is higher now. A lot higher. Bleacher Report pointed out that if Burrow puts up superior numbers and leads Cincinnati to the playoffs, he could swipe that MVP crown. Burrow's coming off of a 3 TD, 918-yard season. He has Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. If the Bengals win 11 games, he's a threat. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson is still Lamar Jackson, a dynamic dual threat who now has Derrick Henry softening up defenses. But let's not pretend Allen is outgunned. He's got Keon Coleman stepping up, a much deeper WR room, and a defense that's been reshaped through the draft and free agency. He doesn't need to carry as much weight as before, which could lead to even cleaner efficiency in 20-5+. Joe Brady has built an offense that fits Allen's style to perfection. Aggressive, creative, balanced when needed. And let's not forget, Allen is now a 4-time MVP finalist. He's chasing history. He wants a legacy. And he knows that getting back-to-back MVPs and finally breaking through in the playoffs would cement his status as an all-time great. So, what happens if Coleman takes that leap? What happens if Allen repeats his MVP form? This Bills team becomes absolutely terrifying. You've got a QB who's reaching his prime, a receiver who might be turning into a legit No.1, a young defense infused with talent like Maxwell Hairston and Javon Solomon, and depth in all the right places. And let's not overlook what Brandon Beane has done. This front office has been under pressure, but in 2024 they clean house, reset the roster, and now in 2025, it all feels like it's clicking again. But here's the catch. The margin for error is razor thin in the AFC. The Chiefs are still the mountain to climb. The Bengals are healthy. Again, the Ravens are dangerous. Even up-and-coming teams like the Texans and Jets are no joke. If Buffalo is going to capitalize on this window, if they're going to finally shake off the heartbreak of the last for playoff exits, they need Keon Coleman to hit and Allen to stay elite. For as long as Sean McDermott has been steering this defense, there's been one position, just one, that holds it all together in the trenches, the one-technique defensive tackle. This is not the guy getting sacks and highlight reel plays. This is the guy doing the dirty work, absorbing double teams, clogging running lanes, and giving linebackers like Matt Milano the space to fly around and make plays. In short, if you don't have a dude at one tech, your whole front seven falls apart. Now, let's be real, Buffalo hasn't always had the guy for that role. Star Lotulelei was supposed to be the answer, but let's just say that didn't work out like we hoped. But in 2022, the Bills struck gold when they brought in DaQuan Jones, a savvy vet from Tennessee with the experience, size, and intelligence to lock that role down. And guess what? When Jones has been on the field, this defense has looked completely different. 2023 setback. 2020 for comeback after a serious pectoral injury cut Jones' 2023 season short. It was fair to wonder whether he'd be the same player again. But in 2024, he returned and appeared in 16 of 17 regular season games and all 3 playoff matchups. Was he a stat sheet monster? No. He posted 23 tackles to 0.5 sacks, 5 TFLs, and 7 QB hits. Nothing crazy, but you know what doesn't show up in the box score, gap control, pocket push, the ability to force an offense to change its run scheme. That's what Jones brings. In the playoffs, he chipped in with 6 tackles. And while that may seem modest, it was just one behind Ed Oliver and Austin Johnson among defensive tackles. That's significant. The cap question, is Jones worth $9.40 million in 2025? Now let's talk money, because UKNOW that matters in today's NFL. Jones is in the final year of a 2-year, $16 million extension. His 2025 cap hit is $9.48 million, making him the 6th most expensive player on the roster. Only Allen, Dawkins, Milano, Knox, and Oliver cost more. So the obvious question is Jones worth it at this stage of his career? At 33 years old, turning 34 in December, he's certainly not the long-term future of the position. And with Buffalo investing heavily in young DTs like DeWayne Carter, TJ Sanders, and Deone Walker, the writing may be on the wall, or at least starting to fade in. But here's the thing, none of those guys are DaQuan Jones. Not yet. The Bills have not signed another true one-technique who plays the position the way Jones does. Yes, they brought in Larry Ogunjobi, but guess what? He's suspended for the first 6 games due to a violation, so he's not even available to help until mid-October. Unless Buffalo plans to overhaul its entire defensive front philosophy, they need a veteran like DaQuan Jones to keep the system intact early in the season. Still, if Walker or one of the rookies balls out in camp, if they show they can anchor the run game and control the gaps, don't be shocked if Buffalo tries to save the $1.8 million in cap space they'd free up by cutting Jones. Yes, they'd eat $7.6 million in dead cap, but in a tight financial year, every dollar counts. The youth movement versus veteran leadership. Let's be honest. The NFL is a young man's game, and DaQuan Jones knows that. Buffalo currently has 9 defensive tackles on the roster. That's a deep room. Behind Jones, you've got Ed Oliver, a cornerstone player, explosive and disruptive. DeWayne Carter, 2024 third-round pick with serious upside. TJ Sanders, another rookie who fits well as a developmental piece. Deone Walker, a 330-pound monster who might eventually be the Jones replacement. Larry Ogunjobi, veteran depth, but suspended. Plus, depth guys like Marcus Harris, Zion Logue, Casey Rogers. This isn't just a rotation anymore, it's a full-blown competition. Jones is still valuable, but his leash isn't long. If these rookies prove they can handle their assignments, stay gap disciplined, and take coaching from McDermott and DL coach Eric Washington, Buffalo might decide it's time for a changing of the guard. We're going to learn a lot over the next few weeks. Training camp is where you separate the menors from the monsters. It's one thing to be a veteran leader, it's another to still make plays when the pads go on. Jones is healthy, he's participating in off-season workouts, he's saying all the right things, and I bet he's still hungry to win, especially after seeing how close Buffalo came last year. But make no mistake, his roster spot is not guaranteed. If Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane believe this defense can function without DaQuan, especially if it frees up money or playing time for the next generation, they won't hesitate. And Jones knows that. That's the cold business of the NFL. So here's what we're asking today. Bills Mafia, is Keon Coleman about to become our next superstar wideout? Can Josh Allen go back-to-back as MVP and finally lead this team to the Super Bowl? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from the fans who ride or die with this squad every week. And hey, if you're loving this coverage and want to keep the energy going as we head into training camp, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll be bringing you exclusive analysis, insider updates, and fan-driven conversations all season long. This is our year to break through. Let's go, Buffalo!